돌제 찬제 대로 나로 원다 말바메라 제제가 보바 대선세자 켄켄가마 바제세전게 제반세난다 년단자면인겐다 rinpoche basam shen de chen ba mama ba yen lo do kholo rinpoche norbo rinpoche simo rinpoche sa
당보들이야 타게마 흉지도 맞은 데 상냥하면 저 정도
I think it would be best to begin by reading a bit from the jewel Ornament of Liberation.
텔레 너밍이 되부터는 지르데메 와도 셔베는 지라도 채나 숨도 영어 거는 넘버 샤고 장기 거는 넘버 샤고 유지 거는 넘버 샤고 텔라 담벌 시당가 거는 미겨 되다 채나 냐월 겨원주 대샤게 거는 채나 이다수 겨원주 띠모 거는 채나 둔루 겨원주 대더리야 이제 정원에 차베 이다 로르 시당기는 냐월 모베 표제 둔루로 시송소 장기 거는 넘버 샤고는 미겨 빠도메 제베 냐월 겨원주로 망보제비 이다수 겨원주로 가슴제비 둔줄 겨원주로 유기고는 넘버사원 유개버잖아 되네 제나 냐월 겨원주로 윤주볼라 되네 제나 이다수 겨원주로 유타말라 되네 제나 둔줄 겨원주로 대다 소나만이 빌레주레 되네 지진와래 차다시란 뒤모도 예배는 미개와 미개레네 동해고 대신에로 탐제도 제 송소 소남지레 윤들레 레네 미개와 주고 대방반은 겨와 주인 xian zhubei lai la dine xian ki suan zhe ma de jiba gya xin bo dong wa sang bra zhe ba le ne ba den ba chang bra ma de xian mi zang nam dun ba de xi tie da song bra ma da tuan da tu bi sing ma da cha ba chu ji cho xian ba de cha ba da chang ba la so ba gong ba da yang ta be tuan la zhu ba de jin zhe bu le yang sum le nam bra mi bi zhe ba de be kam ge 라다 메인나도 겨울줄 유등기 되는 소저바 방신기 소는데 체링을 줄 세발라 소바 자로 왕게 되는 소저바에 오버는 상시 투치에서 겨울줄 세발라 소바 자로 대다가 소남지 내줄에 된데人间情况은 마참 시단 뒤몸이 되게래는 겨에 게래대로 탐제던 때와 겨울로 대와다 제 송소 미유의 내줄에네 균념주의 삼대인 거면 저부께에 삼대 타바데 tel라 균념주의 삼대는 열도 게다 삼대 용무시 게다 삼대 개버제노 저부께에 삼대네 순간 일이 주는 게 라도 숨이 깨지 무실라고 대다가 근데 태가르잖아 겨주제번은 지루 폐시 삼대 담이녀도 미저와 매바 바르제 매베 남 검네 조시 삼대 담 문의시 똑제다 가디데 제 비딩진 거면 서리게 라르게오 something 캐버제 거면 상바청부게오 펜시 something 니비 녀도 바제 메벨람고네 조제 something 니비 의시 도저네 방라 가데다 니비딘스 거면 의중라서 something 니비 라르게오 대신에 펜시 녀도 인제월 차오 조제 something 수빙의시 Gawapala Dewada de Betting is the Gombe, Gizungla Soba, some days with Belardio, Soxia some days she be Mushi Dojo da Dema, Gadiba Betting in the Gombe, Timelas of some days she Belardio, some days she remember and Kevan, Namkatai against the Tegombe, Namkatai against the Geladio, Televemba and Kevan, Namsi Tai against the Tegombe, Namsi Tai against the Geladio, Televemba and Kevan. 지야메 미겐제 대검베 지야메 미겐제 라르교 텔레벤발레 게반 두시메 미겐제 대검베 두시메 미겐제 라르교 벤발레 게베 셰샤와야 람칸이나 사고만의 인종원인데 되사다 저로 저외치로 지 남과타의 겐제라서 대다자 남과라서 바니레 미비 디시 되게도 참 세나 마인데 담보소는 여브르주버서 남과 타이에서 시발라서 일레체베 되게 지민 민도 따기 신념버 조스는 지니 일레체와 마인 치마니 두시 메베고는 민도 체바데 두시 세와야 마인 메바 코나야 마인노 라랑 의식이 뭐 탐제 계획은 세지고 이노 대다가 미유에 유래된 데지지와 삼제 세메 수명이 상소대와 용어지 제 송소 대다나 코영어보디 갱게 사세계 레슨보디 이노
All of the fully ripened results are given in general terms. There are also 3 specific classifications by the type of affliction, by the frequency, and by the object. First, if one acts with hatred, one will be born in the hell realm. If one acts with desire, one will be born as a hungry ghost. If one acts with ignorance, one will be born in the animal realm. The precious jewel Garland says, by attachment one will become a hungry ghost, by hatred one will be thrown in the hell realm, and by ignorance one will be born as an animal. Relating to frequency, when one creates countless non-virtuous actions, one will be born in the hell realm. One will be born as a hungry ghost by committing many non-virtuous actions. One will be born as an animal by committing some non-virtuous actions. Relating to object, one will be born in the hell realms if one acts non-virtuously towards beings of higher states. If toward mediocre beings, one will be born as a hungry ghost. If toward ordinary beings, one will be born as an animal. This is the explanation of the cause and result of the non-virtues. The precious jewel Garland says, desire, aversion, ignorance, and the karma created thereby are non-virtues. All sufferings come from non-virtue, as do the lower realms. Meritorious karma and result. The action is the avoidance of the 10 non-virtues, which constitutes the 10 virtues. Furthermore, living in accordance with virtuous activity means protecting the lives of others, practicing great generosity, maintaining moral discipline, speaking straightforwardly and truthfully, harmonizing with those who are unfriendly, speaking peacefully and politely, speaking meaningfully, practicing the reduction of attachment and development of contentment, practicing loving kindness and so forth, and engaging in the perfect meaning. The results. Virtuous actions also have 3 results. The result of full ripening is that one will be reborn in the human or God realms of the desire realm. The causally compatible result is that one will experience a long life by avoiding taking life and so forth as related to all the rest. The dominant result is that by avoiding taking life, one will be born in a good place with strong properties, a special environment, and so forth as related to all the rest. These 3 are by these are shown the karma and cause and result of merit. The precious jewel Garland says, non-attachment, non-aggression, and unobscured mind are the karma and the karma created thereby are virtues. All the higher realms come from virtue, as do peace and joy in other lifetimes. The karma and result of the unmoving meditative concentration. The karma. By practicing the cause, the meditative concentration of equipoise, one will obtain the results born of meditative concentration. The meditative concentration of equipoise is 8 preparatory steps, 8 levels of actual meditation, and 1 special meditative concentration. The results born of the meditative concentration. The result refers to the 17 realms with the form God realm, and the 4 within the formless God realm. Here, the cause and result will be directly related to one another. In general, all are based on the 10 virtues. The first concentration. Practicing meditation on the uninterrupted path of proficient preparation constitutes the propelling cause of the first concentration. Practicing meditation on a conceptual, subtly discursive, joyful, and blissful samadhi constitutes the completion of the actual achievement of the first concentration, which leads to birth as a god in the Brahma realm. The second concentration. Practicing meditation on the uninterrupted path of proficient preparation constitutes the propelling cause of the second concentration. Abandoning the conceptual mind of the subtle discursive mind and practicing meditation on the joyful and blissful samadhi constitutes the completion of the actual achievement of the second concentration, which leads to birth as a god of the second dhyana in the god realm of lesser light, and so forth. Likewise, the propelling cause and the preparation are applied in the same way to the remaining two concentrations. In the third dhyana, abandoning joy and practicing meditation on the blissful samadhi constitutes the completion of the actual achievement of the third dhyana, which leads to birth as a god of the third dhyana in the god realm of lesser virtue, and so forth. The fourth dhyana, practicing meditation on the samadhi that abandons the conceptual mind, the subtle discursive mind, joy, and bliss constitutes the completion of the actual achievement of the fourth dhyana, which leads to birth as a god in the fourth jhana in the god realm without cloud. After renouncing the four meditative concentrations, the next stage is called limitless space. By practicing that, one will be born in the god realm of infinite space, ayatana. Renouncing that results in the state of limitless consciousness. By practicing that, one will be born in the god realm of infinite consciousness, ayatana. Renouncing that results in the state of nothingness. By practicing that, one will be born in the god realm of nothingness, ayatana. Renouncing that results in being born in the state of neither perception nor non-perception. By practicing that, one will be born in the god realm of neither perception nor non-perception, ayatana. What kind of path is that called born from renunciation? It means rejecting the lower levels, thus becoming free from attachment. Are the levels of infinite space, ayatana, and so forth called for because their focus is space? No. For the first three, when one enters into the absorption, infinite and so forth are the focus of the mind, and the stages are named accordingly. Later, when the absorption has been fully actualized, they are not brought into the mind. The last one is so named because there is very little perception. Although there is no clear perception, there is also not none. Generally, all 8 of these actual dhyanas are based on a one-pointed virtuous mind. This is the explanation of karmic cause and result of the unmoving meditative concentration. The precious jewel Garland says, by the infinite dhyanas and formlessness, one will experience the bliss of Brahman and so forth. Therefore, the creators of this karma are the 3 afflicted karmas.
다들 인류 나 가장 거도 주변한 시리에 미기 가르르다 미기 어주디 하는 가장 주변한 시입니다. 시단 삼바 조와 터두세 다두세 인류사네 다 예라 시험아 스타 도시온데 아래 인류사네 다디 양결진 거마지 세시 겹겹겹나 약면도 삼정도
As I described yesterday, with the 10 non-virtues, they all have the 4 aspects, or sometimes it's enumerated as 5. The 4 aspects of the basis, intent, the preparation, and the completion. And I thought it would be a good idea to go through these once again.
시스주사는 가장 변에 소저부터부터 차차위미나 시세아데 가라사나 다텔이야 미기워 주브르신도다 오늘 송고종나 디즈 뒤즈망 고로레 닌주사네 루기 미게와 나네 지금 미게와 지기 시즘 좋아도 거였어 나비 미게와 나네 지는 거였어 아니 이게 미게와는 지는 거였어 맨날 바지 지 드그메도 삼정도
Now, if we were to go through the basis, the intent, the preparation, and the completion for all 10 of the non-virtues, it would take a very long time. And so, for that reason, if we go through one of the 3 of body, one of the 4 of speech, and one of the 3 of mind, then I think that will be pretty much cover it, so it'll be fine.
다들이야 소제가 더블 당보 루기 미게와 숨기난 소제가 더블 처음이미나 다 시사를 가르잖아 시사데 심지 버르보 다 소주 주제 심지인데 자리야
So among the 3 non-virtues of body, if we take killing, for example, the basis for killing is the other sentient being who is to be killed.
Sambalaya nambasum Sambadalaya Dushiedang Nyumondang Guno nambasum yondeara.
Now, for the intent, there are 3 aspects. There is the conception, there is the affliction, and there is the motivation.
Dushiesadi 다 도난 두시를 추모를 니용데 아래 대주사는 두시에 머주와 주바 니가 용서유스래.
Now, for conception, there are said to be 2, the confused or the unconfused and the confused. And so the conception can either be confused or it can be unconfused.
체다라 어르다 되지라 베나 가장 고르시는 신기这是세고 삼네 세베 좋아 삼네 되네 로상 세베 임비나 non sevimina mushitiwa jugumeavre reduzane nizu cheraba tedawlaya karoimina dushi mochuwa mushi jungwalaya digbengo shi tobalaya dushi mochuwa chi goyara.
And it is, as I explained, for example, yesterday, if you want to kill Tashi, and you do all the preparations and the acts leading up to killing Tashi, and you end up killing Lobsang instead, then the conception is confused, and it does not become the actual commission of the act of the misdeed, and so it is not that actual misdeed. And so, in order to in order to have the actual commission of the misdeed, you must have the unconfused conception.
이나야 심지 수이나야 세기 인념으로 진짜 그런 게네 그런 지식서 말로 심지 수이비네야 다시 세기 인념으로 진짜 그런 지식서 말로 탐제 세상에 직기 그노 지슈를 예비미나 저로에 틀이야 두시 추의미네야 무시디와 저거야 그래 존재인데 그노 지슈체 팀미비 간다 심제 컨디지 비네 소고 섬버 디지기 두시 가르 소냐버 디지기 삼루야비 미 유사나 디지 유젠데네 데네 심제 가리나지 세 대세번 세베 왕게 무시디바 조구야비입니다.
However, if your motivation doesn't matter, I'm going to kill whoever, I'm going to kill anyone. If you have that sort of intention, that sort of generalized intention, you think I'm going to kill everyone, then even if you, when you are engaged in the preparation and act, even if you are mistaken about a particular individual at that time, since your intention is a generalized intention, then you do have the actual commission of the act, because the intention is to kill any sentient being, so it does become the actual commission.
단 도난 두시에 투마 줄라 마데바 다가다 수세샤나 다버지 디벌 주고 다데레 다드네 니바데 녀모데 투숨카로 꾸네라마 녀모마 데샤 다데레야 이제 소주발이야 투숨가요 투숨게 꾸네라 초예 데샤게 권에 소제 초예 시당이 권에 소제 초예 디무기 권에 소제 초예래 대주산 투숨게 꾸네라 다 투숨카로 와 다데게 꾸네라마들이 영초예 그래.
And so if your motivation or your concept, your idea is that you're going to kill any sentient being, and then it does not matter whether you are confused or not as to the individual sentient being, it does become the misdeed. Now the second of the three aspects of intent is the affliction. And this means any one of the three poisons. Killing can be motivated by any of the three poisons. There is taking life that is motivated by desire, taking life that is motivated by aversion, and taking life that is motivated by ignorance. So we can be motivated by any of the three poisons.
Bernard Jinsang Tuzulia Mazuji Shak Chedo Simji Manguchi say, that is what mina. Dosha you gonna solve it, shut up, Bakbay said. Bakbay, Dakar project somewhere today, Tonzeg Chedo, shut up, Bakbay Tonzeg Chedo, Simji Mangu say, that did Dosha you couldn't allow us somewhere away. That did Paji Chadi user. And that tell us of that's how it again was super than sinking. Or that Tosum Karo couldn't allow the young show you.
For example, if we want to look at a modern example, these days we slaughter many animals. We slaughter them for their meat, and we slaughter them for their hides. And that is motivated by desire, because the slaughter is done with the motivation of selling the meat or selling the hide, so it is motivated by desire. And so in this way, these and so forth are, as explained in the Jewel Ornament of Liberation, we can be motivated by any of the three poisons.
다들 꿀롱데 쇠슴들이 쇠버를 되베기 삼바데 들인주사네 다들 미세를 하고 하면도.
And then the motivation is the volition to kill. It is the wish to kill. There is no need to explain that.
다 조로아텔라야 이용 저요. 조로아텔라야. 랑게 체험 시엘 체도 주바. 강루기 관에. 데네 도기세베 데네 춘제 세베나 자도 도기세베나 자도 다는 신게 링하고 jorwache 데 툰로들이 겹제 근데가 토네 세베이나 단도 딱 강으로 거네 세바
Then in terms of the preparation, there are two ways to do this. There is killing yourself, and then there is having another person do the killing. Either way becomes the actual commission. And this may be killing with a weapon, or killing with poison, or killing by mantras and spells. That is through some sort of sorcery. Any of these, it becomes the actual commission.
천세 세바도 독이 세바 체비네 독지 투견의 세자는 빼면 누버침부터 야부죠 다디 내 균쟁 로단 체비네 다 지부지간에 독견의 세바도 전견의 세바 투견의 세바도 지부지간에 마다베 투견의 세바디 다 누버침으로 야고르지 누버예베 따르지 다 독견의 세바도 누버시라메베 따르지 벌써 통데 야르데 빈 된도네 딱 안다라 미기와이 미치거래 소자베 미치거래 닌두산 텔레야 상당행게 야가메베
Now, it used to be in Tibet that if you killed someone with a weapon or with poison, it wasn't considered good. But if you could kill someone through sorcery or spells, that was a sign of having a lot of power. It was considered good. But in terms of karmic cause and effect, they're the same. Whether you killed someone through sorcery or killed them with a weapon, it was the same. So it used to be in Tibet that, if someone used sorcery to kill another person, then this is a sign of having great powers, of really being really powerful. This is considered good. Whereas if you killed someone with poison, then that was a sign of weakness and seen as being bad. However, when we look at it, they are the same in actually being non-virtues, and so there is no distinction of good or bad. Better and worse, I should say.
다전에 이제 도와지데 가라서나 제수 이랑 채나 랑가 채바다 셴의 채도 주고서는 주고서 좀 많이 봐다 제수랑 채비입니다. 의시 토그를 말해서 돼. 도와지야. 제수랑 채비나. 다들 제수랑 채비는 의시 토그 샤겨외기 아주 유행하다. 인주 초니가 난다. 초니디 말베다. 그래 지금 간다르 전에 다 샤겨외기 숭나 퍼지 제수이랑 디셈네 이기 제수이랑 채바자마이바 류마가 넘줄라야 퇴베이미나 버지 지 파바드 중국 예배 가면 계절을지 드리지 그저 용대 유스래 onda 드링이 유산에 디 딱지 샤르지샤 딱지 샤르지 제바 샤르지 이기 제수이랑 제바자마이바 다 류마가 넘줄 토알이야 베나 지 소소기 당원 잔저지 미신다지 세 미신다지 세버디 수수 고용 따뜻 빈 미세비데 야부 중샤사지 칸에베 낙주체 에나 락바드도 답 다는 신기 가서다 진짜기 딱 강모 답 가르쳐고는 제제 간다 융아가 넘줄 토알이야 그 제수이랑 넘줄듯 슈셔버 뜬시 제비미나 다디기 무시 토그레 말해서 다디 다시 찾지.
Now here there is a question that comes up, and this is about rejoicing. So if instead of doing something yourself or having someone else do it, if you rejoice when someone else kills, do you yourself gain the actual commission of that or not? Now, the great master Shakyaprabha, who is one of the 6 ornaments and 2 supreme, he's one of the 2 supreme in that list. So the great master Shakyaprabha said that if you rejoice mentally in something and then also express it through your body and speech, then you will incur a defeat. Now, this is something that needs to be examined. So here it is a question of not merely rejoicing mentally in something, but also giving expression with your body and speech. For example, if your dreaded enemy is killed by someone else, and then you orally say, "Oh, that was wonderful, that was great," and then you clap your hands or stamp your feet or make some other expression. In other words, if you are displaying an expression with your body and speech, then we need to examine or consider whether or not that is the actual commission of the act or not.
난 두어 원대 나도 다면 두어 원대 지주 나도 다유스레 삼청도 다들 와라 다들 터두사데 소제비 조와 대 경기 다 쉬워지 조와 대 경기 머신은 무시 토요 말에 쉬웨이나 무시 토야지 순거 알아요 대야 쉬워야 랑경원도 쉬워지 고만시고는 데디 랑시 소나 대는 것이 더욱 매력해서 시사는 것이 더해서요 말봐서 대주사는 저러한테 짬네 소죄베 저러한테 짬네 저러한테 경기 람 마시외 나로도 다 버리버리 쉬워 근데 정말 있나 되네 것이 더고요 그렇지 그래서 알아
The place we need to the place we need to look for the answer is in a Vinaya text called the Uden. Now, for the completion of the act, if through the conditions of the preparations, the other sentient being dies, then it is the actual commission of killing. If the other being does not die, then it is not the actual basis or the actual killing. In addition, if the killer dies before the person who is killed, then the killer does not have the actual commission of the act. You cannot receive the actual commission of the act after you have died. And so, if after engaging in the preparations, if the other person who is being killed dies before the killer, then the killer then has the actual commission of the act.
다디 남유 파바셰베 걸이야. 자와시다 파바단 디주셰베 걸이야. 로단로 디지레. 이나야 미기웨 걸레 디데 이나메. 야보 따따유르시. 다디 지시나야 미기와 다디 다디지레. 디데 인주산 다디 준센된 다테르 소주베 다 텐드베기 시슴 저어터도 휴시네 다 소주베기 레기 람기 모암 신이디 쇼쇼라베미나 다지 샤베이마나 아니 다 공도 주변나시기 심진 퍼루 보텔야 두시 마주시 뇨모 도숨 가롱기 세번 데베 꾸롱기 세베 탑 찌리베 찌리고 제베 게나 되네 심지 버리보데 람마시웨 랑기 나르도 쉬워래 총에게 다 레디 바지 소주베 레너 다들지 샤고야 수없이 다디 버레 도나 시점 조와 타도기 예라데 주나는 예라직 마상이네요 예라직 마상하나 심지 소주베 무시디와 중국 매베 소지다 자리하래 드리두디 소 이나야 당연히 되시잖아
So this is how it is described in the presentation of the 4 defeats or the 4 root precepts. However, we should analyze whether it is actually thus with merely being a non-virtue. In any case, for this reason, with killing, there needs to be the basis, the intent, the preparation, and the completion. So if we think about what is the actual essence or characteristic of the karmic path of killing, then it would be an act of killing another sentient being with an unmistaken conception that is motivated by any of the 3 poisons, where the being killed dies before the killer. That is the actual act of killing. And so in this way, there are these 4 aspects of the basis, the intent, the preparation, and the completion. And if any one of these 4 aspects is not present, then it is not the actual commission of the misdeed of killing another sentient being.
Oh yeah. 다 예라 강롱지 마상 왜다 소저버 디기디 예라 강롱지 마상 왜게 다 가르레 심지기 소제베 레디기 소저기 디봉시 마주나 소저기 미기 왜 콩수 또고여면 버치 근데 이마라.
However, if there is an act of killing where one of the 4 aspects of the basis, intent, and so forth is not present, it may not be the actual commission of that misdeed, but it is included in the category of that misdeed.
Pena Cecilia ji nga zo komba pon ro gablia en kambe wal bula soba tinde karure da ji se shoy min da di so jebe jorwa cheba zam so se gi jorwa cheba zam ma do be gi dine digba mushim mitop mushim minjunsa de sung yo are tiam do chamba ni sha ga na lo le ya lamdo droana mishiba ta tuna dodon rodi do chamba ni sha na lo le ya lam dro ka le ya susu ma she bar dine so sha chambu de shiwa tang da na singi member de ju gi pen do bran de ne ya cham cham melo the ba de yo ni me lo ba de kan zu ri che ba ma yin bi che yin bi ne ya pen do be gulong ye ba che yin bi ne ya norni melo tebe de che melo tene de ga tone ne shiwa da wa dang tene 파마당 게겐라 소베기 제외 굴롱이 거네 지단 제외 굴롱이 버체 이미니아 디 제외 굴롱 슈타보에 빈 딘데 토네 안직틱 참서 지 동네 아 시소한데 여러봐 딘데기 디주 담젤라 라 소제베 소제기 네베 커버 민주르스체 딘데 도처 바니 샤가 나로래야 딘데 숭여레스 딘데 숭도 인베이네야 텔레야 카지기 가르숭도 알았잖아 텔레 녜봐요 말았어 마시신도 세바 딱그랬어 텔레 녜봐요 말았어 녜봐 메바테 가르사남 페나스 나중에 마산벌래야 강배워도 마시신도 강배워도 시월 디바 메바이나 마산발 강바 메그나로 주샤베는 지금 말해스다 마산발 강바 메나 주샤나 지그러 와서 다나 신기 되는 마신신도 강배와데 디카르스는 불라서 세발라 디바메만 주고 말해스 되는 인도스탄에 되는 마삼신도 세버들이야 남이 저 뉴유스 리송거를 빼나 제보 추송 디자인기 세모 말베 라점 빼마세 제보 추송 디자인 세모 이베 되게는 되게 아주 로규지 아주 군산라면 시롱 나로래야 수고하래 다디 경마디 제보 추송 디자인 경 공원질이야 뉘차베 겨야 텔라차베 겨야 장마소에 겨야 되는 무지 아니 세샤 다들 되게 남일 때는 총대바 들고 유순아요 와 안드레 유산에 안드레 타지도 내가 매버도 되지 숨어 다 간다 텔라소에 렌데게 처십이 남샤 왕위 있으래 단도나 디바미나 나민기 드부뉴 디바미나 나민기 드부뉴싱가 말와 나민기 드부뉴싱가 말와 대주산 누시 디바마토나 나민기 드부뉴싱가 말해 디 뇽싱가 매베 인상 되네 디 마셰신도 세바디스야 아데네 누시 디바토야 예바든지 예베 급든지 유사레스 누시 디바 누시 Chandraki to sometimes become bigger results. Some produce Tanjos Lanaman to
Now, for example, if we are walking in some place and as we are walking we kill a bug by stepping on it, then this is merely the preparation of killing. It does not become the actual commission of the misdeed of killing. It also says in the Sutra of the Four Foundations of Mindfulness, it explains that when we are going along the road, if unknowingly we kill small insects or other bugs, then that is not the actual commission. It likewise says that if a physician who has the wish to help gives the wrong medicine, and because of that mistake the patient dies, then that is not the actual commission. Likewise, it says that if the parents or a teacher who have a loving motivation discipline their child and the child dies from that, then that is also not considered to be the actual commission of the result, according to the Sutra of the Four Foundations of Mindfulness. However, some people say that it is difficult to say that there's no fault here. Because if it is the case that when you are walking along you step on an insect and kill it, it is not the actual commission of the misdeed, well then it should be the same. If you are walking along and step in fire, your foot is still going to burn, isn't it? It's difficult, therefore, to say that if you kill a bug unknowingly, that it is not a misdeed. And it is possible that there may be a fully ripened result of that action. For example, there is the story about a previous life of the king Chisun Detsen that is related in the words of my previous teacher, which relates how he at one point had killed an insect in a previous life, and describes the result that came from it. In any case, it is not definitely hard to say it is definitely one way or the other, and there are many different subtleties in the presentations of karmic cause and effect. Basically, the point is that if you do not have the actual commission of the misdeed, then it will not produce a result of will not produce a fully ripened result. Although you have to be careful, there are some instances where they may produce results.
다들 땅아가 미기와 시우디 나네 중국어 수빈 정도도 다 주연이야다 시슴 좋아 터두스제 왜
Now, among the four non-virtues of speech, I thought it would be good to speak about lying. And lying also has the four aspects of the basis, intent, preparation, and completion.
다 시대양 통화도 되베지라 넘버 7바 드리지 고여버레스 다 준시에서기데 시스템으로 다 들려야 통도의 관해지 야나 그런 게 미게 통도 봐 되는 퇴도 봐 되는 다는 신기지 되제 넘버 7바 다 드리지 미지고 알아스
Now, for it to be a lie, it has to be visible, audible, or somehow perceptible. So a lie needs to be something that you can either see with your eyes, or something that you can hear, or something that you can perceive in some other fashion.
Tene sambalaya kondushivana singi dushe dang nyomon dang kulong de navasum yabe indusane dan dushe sadi dushe gyurwa sadi dadi jer shunin jigmedo na dadi dushe jikshe nyomon ngamanan sinre kulong ne tene karshwe dushe gyurne da be karshwe ji junshen de samba samro da de ge gulong de imja
And so that is the basis. Now, the intent is as before. It has the three aspects of the conception, the intention, and the motivation. And the conception is means to change the conception or to change the ideas. I'll discuss this later. The affliction is, as before, one of the three poisons. And the motivation is the intent to tell a lie and to change one's conception or perception.
Da jorwadi damid yare karasa junsare injiminji kanji 시에고 말해 마와다 준 칸에 시에바다 다나신 양 칸에 마시베 제제 미마위 뒤슈송네 단도 레마사 용도래 다 강가 마시에 대대야 대야 지 가수지 인동도를 제제 강가 마시지 미나위 뒤슈 미나위 관에 단도 레마다 다나신 류규르에 세마된바스 레드스탄 다지 락다 카다 락다는 제제 카에 다다 락베 다다 에네 수베 다라서 버든데 제네 딘제게 관에 에네 저와 차용이요 그래
Now, there are different types of preparations for this. And so a lie does not necessarily have to be just an oral lie. It's not just something that you say orally. You can tell a lie orally, or it's not necessarily oral, but you can do it through a manner of not speaking, as if pretending not to understand, pretending to do something. So there are ways to lie without speaking. And then there are also manners through giving, manners of lying through making signs, such as signs with your mouth, or with your hand, or with your legs. So these are the different types of the preparation.
타도디 버르비 된코와라 버르비 된코와 준시에버디 난신기 버르비 준시에베 된코와서 됐지.
And the completion of the act is that the other person understands the meaning as you, the meaning of the lie you were telling.
다들이야, 저 잔데가 나로래야, 저 잔데가 나로래야, 나기 쉬우들이야, 랑게 제바스도 마스베 시에는 쥐어봐이베, 쥐어봤어도산 시에는 제도 죽어서 Sienna Ched Jube Yang, and Migiwe Lelam the Gurgu the Sunyabra. In a duet nane Turtu Sawala, the dog Turtu Mushi, the Turtu Tunga Kebalea, Rang was Margo with the Digi Sunyores, was Margo with the Sunyores, and the Sungo.
In the Treasury of Abhidharma and its auto-commentary, it says that in order to commit a lie, then it's not necessary that you say it yourself. You can also have someone else tell the lie. This is the same with all four of speech. You can get someone else to do them on your behalf, and they become one of the four non-virtues. However, in the Vinaya, when it is discussing what becomes a downfall that fulfills the completion of the actual commission, then it says that you actually have to tell the lie and so forth yourself.
TV channel soon the Nangus Do you want to tamper in minutes? Chending Galon Chigi, Chabada de Megalon Chigi, Ranga Luginum Yusama Tene, and a Shanlea, Jun Shebe Kablia, Zumawegi, Migiwa Chumbina, Zuma, Tunje, Yungumesa, sort of that repaji, Lawa, sort of see, Chade Usre. Migiwa Chunga Tunje Majons.
And so thus when we are discussing therefore the 10 non-virtues, then according to what is said in the treasury of Abhidharma, when there is a bhikshu who tells a lie by giving a sign with the body, then this does become one of the 10 non-virtues. However, it does not fulfill one of the lies that would be a downfall, one of the mere downfalls.
Juna Zungi Pambati Discavarugi, that Pambashi Nazuki Zungi, that Misha Lame Zuma or Trishikuorba. And Migiwa Jug that Zundi, Chitaji, that Zunshabinea. She's some Jota to Samagon and Zunshabinea, and a Pazi, Migiwa Juna to give Zunchak Mendoza of the Jore.
Now, when we are telling lies, there's a difference between telling lies and telling lies that become one of the 4 root downfalls or the 4 defeats. When we are telling, for the lies that become one of the 4 defeats, then these are lies about having one of the supreme human qualities. But for a lie that is one of the 10 non-virtues, these are general lies that fulfill the 4 aspects of basis, intent, preparation, and completion. These would be considered one of the 10 non-virtues. Now, if any of the 4 the 4 aspects are not fulfilled, for example, if the completion, the other person understanding the lie, does not understand it, then it would be merely idle chatter. It would not be a lie.
Migiwe le lam dumbu telea lunga le dumbu telea migiwe gizman lunga le dumbu tele chidangi lunga le dumbu telea gewata migiwa da lunga dense paji so yonshu yusre ta ineya kabdele da 드린 인지산에 계획이 레 듬보데네 찬주선발라 나와 예비세 미기웨디 듬보데 술라야 나와 매세 안 남윤들이 숨겨와래.
Now, these 3 actions of body and 4 of speech can be, in general, they can be virtuous, unvirtuous, or neutral. And so all of these can occur. So for the 7 the 7 of body and speech that are virtuous, these are allowed for bodhisattvas. When they are unvirtuous, these 7 are not allowed for anyone.
다 될래야 도와야래. 다 될래야. 가르쳐야다. 기시 미기웨 듬보데 찬주선발라 나와 매비나. 아니 찬주선발이야. 치수 마와 요 말베스. 가르에서나 치수마 예바디 가르 치수데 찬주선발라 아니 나와라와스. 다 드니스 나와 겁여와스. 다 넬르두산 드니스 좋아 체비입니다.
Now, here there is a doubt that is not allowed. If the 7 non-virtues are not allowed even for bodhisattvas, then aren't there occasions when bodhisattvas are required to use harsh speech, for example? So aren't there occasions where bodhisattvas are allowed to use harsh speech?
다 지금 나와 예슬라비나 양강에 지연 지금 나와 예비나 다 지금 군의 롱제기 군의 롱제디 녀모가 랑고 예바디 안 가다르 지주기 고랑 뭐 샤베걸이야 지주 지니엄 지주스야디 가르지레스 다디 고랑 뭐디 남샤 샤베걸이야 녀모 군의 랑고 바송요아레 드니 뉴스탄에 디 균젤 데네 아니 찬주선발라 녀모 나와요 왜
So if you say that bodhisattvas are allowed to use harsh speech, then there is a difficulty that comes up. For example, the harsh speech needs to be motivated by the afflictions. So the essence or the characteristic of harsh speech is that it needs to be motivated by the afflictions. So if harsh speech is allowed for bodhisattvas, does this mean that the afflictions are allowed for the bodhisattvas?
계시 직접 나와 매비나 전주선발래야 류가 그 나와 유에서 바바 토메게 숨바다 겐조고 말베스.
But if the bodhisattvas are not allowed to have harsh speech, then doesn't this contradict where Asanga says that they are allowed to use to have the 7 that are virtuous?
다들이 이제 갑들이야. 직제나 다지 직접다 미기 외주의 난전의 기획이 직접래야 야와 제거하는 소리지. 고 다지단기 직접디 녀모 부근에랑바지 인고유 사디 미기와이 마시샤치네 손대베 인자 안 될래 녀모 부근에랑 인고유 지단기 직접을 임비나 아니 녀모 부근에랑 임비게바 메사라지 내지 라고 처음으로.
And so here we need to distinguish between harsh words and harsh words that are non-virtues. So with harsh words, if they are, when we talk about them being motivated by the afflictions, then we are taking it for granted that we are discussing the unvirtuous harsh speech. Those must be motivated by the afflictions. So here we are speaking about harsh speech that is not motivated by the afflictions.
대하는 신기지 륜하게 내 신다들zul에 되는 신기 다 간들 가수회지 삼도에 있으래.
Excuse me, I want to correct my last sentence. when we discuss harsh speech, then it is not necessarily harsh speech that is motivated by the afflictions. And so, in this way, we can say the same thing about all of the 7 actions of body and speech.
다나 신게 다 루 이기 레 숨보텔네 다 이기 미기와 숨섬으로 이기 미기와 숨보텔이야 네 차샤바이미네야 납심스야데 납심기 실이야 신게 노르다 요젤라 소바 샤바데 납심 쪼르지 쪼요왕도 쳬브레스 지당 데벤 데샤 탐시 납심이 바데 데 강빌 로베 다 칸빌데 야세메 칸빌데 야세메 데버드 나로르 디 소여다 데벤 데샤 탐젤이야 납심 민도브르 시티 소여스레 링루산 디 균젤데네 다 갑들이야 납심 사디 조지 생게 노르다 요셀레 차바디 조요왕도 신의 샤바임벌레 지당게양 데벤 데샤 탐젤이야 납심기 파 가르버지 민다여브르지 어디 유스레
Now, with regard to the 3 non-virtues of mind, if we take covetousness for example, then if we talk about it, when we speak of covetousness as being the greed for others' wealth and possessions, then this is the primary type of covetousness. And so the masters Purnavardhana and Yashomitra say that this includes all the desire in the desire realm. And so all the desires in the desire realm are in this way covetousness. So basically, when we are speaking about the desire for for others' wealth and possessions, then we are speaking about the desires in the desire realm as covetousness.
rangi luda ranga norla karjueji chagwageasane randu napsim gyar de paji yondi US de sundu de newstan di yunzen dene azu napsim golya zodi shenge nordan shenge ronjele chawade zoyowandu chevre start de sun.
However, it is possible to have greed or attachment for one's own possessions and own wealth. And so for that reason, when we speak of covetousness, then we primarily mean the greed for others' wealth and possessions.
Today, you stand napsim di chansimliya nawa yueshe. Jidang yigi migiwa sumbudi and chansimla tene karswe sunye zamle ngwe nawa mes. Yigi migiwa sunye zamshi nawa yawara di ne yigi migiwa ngwe de nawa mes de di sunyo ares. Nawa mes sunyo yawara di yinbe ine ya da sunga manawala gomba zamle riri nawayo ta dinde sungu yare ta napsim di nawayo be kiji yare ta nösim di tobajire nösim di chansimle nawayo da mesadi ane 나중에 드시죠.
Now, it is said that covetousness can be allowed for bodhisattvas. However, when we are discussing the 3 misdeeds of mind, then the appearance of them is allowed for the bodhisattvas, not the actuality. So the actual 3 non-virtues of mind are not allowed for bodhisattvas. And so here it is said that all 3 of them, the 3 together, are not allowed for bodhisattvas, but individual ones may be allowed. In particular, covetousness may be allowed for bodhisattvas. With malice, however, we need to examine whether or not it is allowed for bodhisattvas.
대양 아주 다베시 티버숨디 딱 간다 티버숨기 최 간지지미냐 탐시 지 심기 렁규 뉴에게 냠볼라다 마수 녀모베 냠볼이야 녀모모 뉴에체도 마수에 취직야매버래 다 대양 빼나 지 알아주 티버숨기 냠래 탐지 된 실기 디비나 되네 도마숨기 냠래 될라 벌써 도유여버래 도마스드산 수수타베 도마다 천수세베 도마다 상하이 도마디 안 도마숨리야 실기 도유여버래
Now, all of the vehicles of the true Dharma are taught in order to tame our own minds, to tame our own beings. There is not even a single Dharma teaching that was not given in order as a remedy for the antidotes, or as a method to tame, as a remedy for the afflictions, or as a method to tame the afflictions. And so for this reason, all of the practices of the three vehicles are included within the practice of keeping the three vows. And the three vows are the vows of pratimoksha, or individual liberation, the vows of the bodhisattva, and the vows of the secret mantra Vajrayana. All of the practice of the three vehicles is included within its entirety in the practice of these.
간사 민저 숨기 간사 타대와 숨기 엔 domba 타대와 숨소소소소 냠네 제야 임비는다 다 미세 강에스게 다 디스 강에데 여르데 임비냐 대섬기 강에 매브래 이내 다 벽 남바 상계베기 송대하기 domba 숨 냠네 제다나버디 간사지기 유라 엔 domba 숨디 차마차 주머니에 봐서 말어 차마차 주머니에서 다 차상하지 domba 차상하지 드네지 다 냠솔래야디 숭구예베 인도사 다테 깔아하고 야래 깔아하고 야래 처진에 다베 남바 상계베 캐주ያን 버지 대임바래 다베 남바 상계베지 캐주르디 티버숭기 다지 domba숭기 냠랜디 가사지 규레지 냠솔래야여버디 응야다 조가담베 캐주յան 버지 디지 임바다 다나 신 간증이 정게다 개주스나 다 개주스나 다도 시지스나 다도 다 대바지들이 비례샤 시지한테는 양 깔래 데려도 벽 나마상게 비체데 냠네 샤데 깔래 하고 녀다 사고 디 지기 영화 대야 아니 가사지 줄이야 티브 숨기 냠랜디 야보지 영화 디 근데 깔래 하스 데데인 바래 에너지 원서체 사람을 대인 바래 내 인도산 다 데레자
Now, with the three vows, if it were separate individuals who were practicing each of the three separate vows, then there wouldn't be any particular difficulty to it. Of course, there'd be some difficulties, but it wouldn't be all that difficult. But in Tibetan tradition, there is the practice of all three vows within the stream of a single sentient being, and so these are practiced in their entirety, fully and in their entirety. And doing this is rather difficult. From one perspective, this is a feature of, or a particular feature of Tibetan Buddhism. It is the practice of the three vehicles and the three vows within the stream of within the continuum of a single individual. So this was a feature of the practice of the Kadampa masters, and it has also become a feature, or you could say the glory of the Tibetan tradition as well. So it is the glory, but at the same time it's also very difficult. It's difficult and very complicated to do. For a single individual to do the practices of the three vehicles and three vows is good. It is also extremely difficult, and it is also extremely amazing.
내가 듣어요 바케네 뭐인게 되는지 라마 고문 남기 회계다 라마 고만남기 도바숨기 댄슈 수르도베 도바숨 숭기 댄슈 랑강수버 섬으로 뜨는 망보 제야래 수르도 랑강수버들 망보 제야래 베나다 게라시슈르다 토마스나라도 게라시슈르디 장고사기 빌리드 심베 제베다 domsumraye saje bindi zebe domsumraye dire gerache shuru chigre ta tene ma je dusane ta da di gendembe shale binya kirub tamje singe be zeshaba kirub je zeshaba dide domsum yore ane nime shale binya araju ngari benjengi domsum yore ngari benjengi zeshaba domsum ane jigoju chale imbinya ta drubagoju shashavina ta domsung body chambo yare kunje bema ka zeshe domsung body mone tane ta body cheta juji nizi yuse ta kan body chambo shu jare ta den dana singi 감사나 rol에 domsung gi tenju gidu mangbo yare 시적 군점주에 대한 조다 domsum을 지 dombasum이 된줄 없지 얘나 dombasum이 된줄이 털려야지 다지 동아를 내려 잡아대만 내내 가 개바차버마도 시제 자나다 dombasum이 된줄지 제로 치제 장고를 묻을래야 계제 뜻이어서 쉬비 인상 뒤교제 된다 시제 자나 domsum이 된줄 차려야 대단한 신기 Taglong misega ji taglong domsum cheje taglong gi keju senan jando da kandara di kerachim bur ziyare taglong domsum di zengin zababodi taglong shabjong namge chade yuse da tela soba domsum gi tenje rangang su basmar ko mise surdu rangang su mangbo zeya 다가난 신게다 dombasumdi ngochik mijik ngochik bayinda ngo thadeinda chisa tel chaba mangbu yare te chaba mangbu yabade nenga chibo yimbi insa teleya keba susu keba rang namchu gi ze tene teleya da 가르쳐야지 줄리 망보 제요 뉴스나 딜데네 어 가르쳐야지 셰바 미디바 망보 용돼야 돼 내가 전부 이미 윤세 그래도 와 내가 전부 시다면은 셰바 미디미 시다요 말아 내가 전부 유사 개 전부 인사 되줄래 아니 개바 수수 시주민도 조스 총재네 셰바 미디미로 용돼도 와 완전히 유산티 윤세 되네 다디 동버송 기념랜데 내가 전부 이봐 개 전부 이봐 진짜질에 쓰이제 뭐 이게 개바 남이야 that denju changi melang ma de zhe yare
So the great Tibetan master of the past have understood what an important point the practice of the three vows is, and for this reason they have written many treatises about the three vows. These are many separate independent treatises of the vows. Now, the earliest of these and the most highly respected of these is the Donbasum Rabe in Tibetan, or the presentation of the three vows by the Sakya Pandita. Then in the Geluk or Gendempa tradition, within the Geluk tradition, there is a famous presentation of the three vows written by Kedruk Je. In the Nyingma tradition, the most well-known is the one written by the Ngari Panchen. In the Kagyu tradition in general, within the Dapo Kagyu tradition, the presentation of the three vows by the omniscient Pema Karpo is very extensive. It's 2 thick volumes on the three vows, and so this is a very well-known and very thick treatise on the three vows. And likewise, within the Karma Kamsam tradition, there are many different treatises on the three vows, long and short. For example, Jamgon Kontra Lodar Tai's Treasury of Knowledge is basically a presentation of the three vows. So he wrote the treatise. He added many different things from the sutras and tantras, but at its heart, it is a presentation of the three vows. It was written in response to Jamgon Kongtrul Lodro Tai wrote this in response to a request from the Kenshin Tashi Wezer, who asked him to write a presentation of the three vows, and it was following this request that he wrote the treatise on the treasury of knowledge. Within the Taklung Kaju tradition, there is a particular treatise on they have a special and particular treatise on the three vows that became very well known. It was written by the Dolung Shaptung Dawa Namgya. And so this is a particular, it's a special presentation of the three vows, and it has become very well known as well. And within these, there are many debates. For example, there's a debate about whether the three vows are the same in essence or whether they are separate essences. And there are various different debates in this. And the reason for this is that the practice of the three vows is such an important point that the different scholars have really applied all of their powers of intelligence to analyzing these and discuss them. And so this is why there have become so many different explanations. The reason why there are so many different explanations and debates and controversies is because it is such an important point. Generally, when things are very important, then there's more discussion and more debate about them. And so it is because the practice of the three vows is such an important point that there have been many different explanations and many different treatises written about them.
동성의 대주 지량을 지능도 동성의 대주 미기도 지게 안 적은 거지랴 시비지게 다 가르쳐 배 뛰어라 첨부를 줘야래 다보그 유기 주다 첨스 다보그 유기 다 주다 사회 주제 흉도 지레스 진짜게 간다 나주에 나네 다 간다 적은 거지디 다 적은 거 유기 계절 루직 차게 알아 어다 대양 지제자는 동성이 된 주지임래. 동성이 된 주지. 드리죠.
I neglected to mention before, but also in the Drikung Kaju tradition, there is the teaching on the single intent of the Drikung. And so this, in its basis, is identified as described as a treatise on the three vows. In his commentary on the single intent of the Drikung, Mikyo Dorje praised it highly. The 8th Karmapa Mikyo Dorje said that this presentation on the single intent is really the greatest treatise or the greatest description of the philosophical school. So he really recommended it highly. At any rate, this single intent is really a special teaching of the Drikung schools, and it is, at its heart, it is a treatise on the three vows.
단 더나 동바숨디 간다라 가르쳐야지 동바숨디 단 녀모베냐모 저거가 지거래 녀모발이야 녀모 저 동바숨 녀모는 간다지미나 탑지 녀모 베냐모 저거가 지거래 대나나야 다 도스바 지예 가르쳐야지 도스바 최반로 제위미나 당부 소소 타베 동바디 조데 에너지 녀모 번데샤 뒤에게 düşal nyamboteyan be zoru jin debe soruchi ta dene chenju sebe doba de nyomo ba shedan ya nyamboteyan zoru jin debe soruchi zo nyomo ne nyomo ba shedan ya nyamboteyan de zai de donggu ba zhuchi ta sang a gi doba de zin bina zo de nyomo ba timu duwa le ya nyamboteyan le ya de zai de donggu ba zhuchi de jin sare.
With any of the three types of vows, they all need to function as antidotes for the afflictions. They're the same in this. So whichever of the three vows we are practicing, they are the same in needing to become remedies for the afflictions. However, they each emphasize different afflictions. So with the first of the types of vows, the pratimoksha vows, or vows of individual liberation, these primarily emphasize the antidotes for desire. The bodhisattva vows primarily emphasize the antidotes for hatred and aversion. The vows of the secret mantra Vajrayana emphasize the antidotes, primarily the antidotes for ignorance.
다디 뇽모바 조 소소타베 domba 조 뇽모바 되샤래야 뇽부 땡게여 되다지 제시시라 쇼모지 다 간다 판바시 송베가리나 당보 아니 미산주기 판바샤 데레샤고들 김제망고지 도순거 아래 다데레 다드네 전주세베기 완세비면 전주세발이야 전주세베 되네 디주나 전주세바노나 되샤네 뇽모바 인시 뇽모바 마인스 알아부터데 온데 아래 이내야 전주세베기 다 냠술렌즈 조디 에너지 닌지당 아니 전주그 쓰면 소바 인비 인주사네 다 대다 지금 간다 차대야 조 세당기섬 뇌섬 세당기섬도 차대야 아래 근데 버지 나와요 그 매번도 지금 버지 용대 유스래 미난 대변인 지정에 미난 동동지 세르사 되게 뛰세 ndeshene ji ya de dis kala khabar ji do ma do xin xin pa ji na wa ge me be so ji de de ji re sha da de ne timu de sanga garsa di sanga ne ga le ya de sha da xie dang la so ba da kajuri ya wa sa de cha ya kajuri ya wa sa dan do na kajuri ya wa sa de ji garsa da gyudu yugulonde da ninji gyu yugulonde ninji che en tu yugulonde da xedang ro de shen de ga da na chagwe le cha de yong de ya re de yin da na da xedang le ya na we go ye ba ji da timu de na we go sa na ro timu lam de cha yo ra da yo ma re sa de sang a le timu lam de cha yo ra da yo ma re sa de da ka she sa na timu khurang lam de cha ke yo ma re 배는 뇌사당 충전될 줄배 말다 어래 뇌사다 충전될 줄배다 디모 뇌사 대다 충전될 줄배 디모다 아니 셰다도 충전될 줄배 디모도 이기래 안데서 뇌사 그런 남도 계획 쇼라 아니 대다 충전될 줄배甚至 남도 계획이 인사 안데这个 团呢 아니 남도 계획 레소 마다베 아니 디모 그런 남도 계획사도 요 말해서 대수녀 연대 있으래 안 가시기 아니 디몰람도 해야게 규딘데 야레스 디몰람 계속한테 야레스 손다 간다냐 상아 내가리야 디무사다 다 머리번지제 머리빈님 불러 리베 이시 땡고래 리베 이시 땡고 주산 아니 상아 나로리야 지 이시리베 야 야와징하게베 이시라 소바데这个다 망보시비지 남샤 망보시비지 제제 간다 디물이야 녀보대야 데 저도 땡고 면도 삼바로 되지 야. 딱 간다라야. 난 탐제 지 녀모 도순기 녀모로 저거 같이 되지 인사래.
Now, in terms of applying the antidotes for the afflictions, the vows of individual liberation are primarily antidotes for the affliction of desire, and it's not necessary to explain this in detail. After all, when we speak about the four defeats or the four defeats, the first of these is the defeat of unchaste action. In terms of the bodhisattva vows, then there are spots in the sutras of the bodhisattvas where it speaks about where it speaks of desire not being an affliction for the bodhisattvas. In any case, the primary method of practice for the bodhisattva is the practice of loving kindness and bodhicitta. And so for that reason, what is directly contradictory of that is hatred and aversion. And so these are never allowed for the bodhisattvas. Although it is rather difficult when we speak about the story of the King Great Courage who killed Captain Great Courage who killed the black spearmen. That is a difficult one to describe. However, in general, aversion and hatred are not allowed for bodhisattvas. In the secret mantra Vajrayana, it emphasizes the antidotes for ignorance. And so here there is, we need to distinguish between the afflictions. So there are times, for example, when at the time of the cause, the causal motivation is compassion. However, the motivation at the time of the act may be aversion and hatred, and this is the wrathful activity. And so in this aspect, there are times when wrathful activity is allowed, and therefore hatred is also allowed. However, we do need to distinguish whether it is possible to take delusion as the path. Delusion, there are many who say that delusion itself cannot be taken as the path. However, when we have desire, that desire is associated with delusion. Or when we have hatred, that hatred is associated with delusion. And so then when we take desire as the path, then we're implicitly also taking delusion as the path. However, some will say that there's no circumstance where you take delusion itself as the path in practice. There are, on the other hand, others who do say that we take delusion as the path in practice. In any case, the delusion in its essence is ignorance, and the primary antidote for ignorance is the awareness wisdom. And so there are many different types of wisdom and presentations of wisdom in the secret mantra Vajrayana. There are the wisdoms of the 5 different Buddha families and so forth, many different types of wisdom. And so this is primarily emphasized as the antidote for delusion. And so in this way, the 3 vows become the antidotes for all 3 of the poisons of the afflictions. So that is enough for the non-virtues. There's more that could be said about, that we can say about the mental non-virtues tomorrow. But if I speak about the non-virtues every day, it's no fun, so I won't speak too much about it.
삼성 아주 공부 뒤를 본 저디도 산에 타르는 그러지 레베디 싱금인도와 이내 치대지 로베이미나 되는 아주 타르는 그러지 레베디 버지 시에도 알아보 저거래 내주 산에 다 데베니즈리아 치대지 로베이미나 아주는 우마 내당 그지임 봐 다다다 내당 상조 유어 근데 친이야 봐 다디 신의 도토 알아보 좋은데 알아 내비 규전 되네 아주 그리 급니바 the truth of the and garbage songs.
So we are now having the second Aryachema Winter Dharma Gathering, and it was very good to start the Winter Dharma Gatherings, and so for now to have the second Winter Dharma Gathering is very good. It's like we're stepping forward, and as we step forward, then we and as we take each step forward, then we are continually progressing. But sometimes as we take each step, we don't really know how far we are getting with each step. And so for that reason, we have to look back. And if we look back, then we can think about what the situation was like in the past and how it has improved. Then only then can we really understand how far we have come. So I'm very happy to be having this second Winter Dharma Gathering.
니네 지조 나눌래야 기지만 오야래 지조 나눌래야 계자 가시에서나다 상기 가르사디 상기 때문에 부메르도 중앙에 때네 상기 때문에 롱압자 립송레스 디식점 다디 자지 가르소디 내마음 다다 뒤숨게 나네 디식디 잡제 립 차르레 차 가르저네 눕차르네 사지 기지지 셰요 가장 아주 와다디
And yet within our society, there are many people who say various different things. There are people who say that because the Buddha ordained women, the length of time that the Buddhist teachings would remain has been decreased by 500 years. And so this they talk about as a past event. They talk about it as having been decreased, as the teachings being reduced.
Dua long deshi dua karoda da kan she gizmedo dua gizmedo kadar sange sungu narole ba cheyon jusane nub chare saji yomare nubr jur saji mado nub chare saji yomare nubr jur saji ore da nubr juwe judan de hagore nubr jur saji ta thoba jare kabdi jusane sange liya 다 보면은 중국 너무 나로치 쉬어만 못했는데 벌써 살 중니지 쉬어야된다. 살 중니지 쉬어 타마들이야 근거 다 쉬어 필요 걸이야. 응 근거올이야. 저 상계만 왕 무슨 소요하래. 어다 디난데 조데 급디디기 가성 롱마 쉬는 시 급디디 지속 내단로디. 급디디 지속 내단들이야. 아니 지 포초도 요바다 몸면 바사 포초 몸에 기타와디 슈슈슈슈여래 디 예베 인도산에 부메럽도 중앙입니다 아니 지 긴둘이야 지 닝구르슈니엔당 다는 신기 지 닝구르슈니에데즈 데지 뇽자로 다들기 냥가 싫어야돼 지속은 내버때 냥가 싫어야베 인사 텔라 때네 아니 상기기다 냥가요 알았어 냥가요 알았어 알았지 소리하지 하지 메로 섬들 정도 냥가요 알았어 드레 인주산에
However, if we look at the actual words of the Buddha, it doesn't say anywhere in the scriptures that the length of time that the teachings will remain has been decreased. It says that it will decrease, but it does not say that it has decreased or that it has been diminished. And so if we look at this in the scriptures, the Buddha was asked many times to ordain women. He was asked 12 times before finally Ananda asked him. And so when Ananda did ask him, he did say quite a few things then. But the main thing, as I said last year, is that it was really due to the societal conditions of that time. At that particular time, there was a very strong view that men were superior and women were inferior. And so because there was that strong view, then if women had been ordained, then there was the danger that the Sangha would receive less respect and less offerings. And so it was with this in mind that it was keeping the societal conditions at that time in the mind that the Buddha said that there was a danger, I believe.
이나야 상계의 년가 여러 송 딘죽 대마타도 예바데 가괴 된도스 예바데 가괴 된도 근데 배단제는 송요 아래 간다 아니 지위 취기 개량 우도 송차 예바데 가괴 된도 지위 취기 개량 우도 송제 근데 배단제에 거는 마 송요 아래 나 미망부지기 뉴인디 때 롱압전 저번 유르사데 때 슈구디 디 슈구들이야 예바데 가괴 된도 사디 마데체 야샤르기 자사와 더버서 제가 주진남 주지시라 야샤르 자사와는 신 지기디 통한 지기도 마통네 그봐 다들 지기 저러면서 야샤르기 자사와 더버서 제가 주지시가 봐 야샤외가 자사와는 신이 다든지 버지 자대 면도 삼들을 정도 다야 야샤라르스나 야고 말바다 미샤라스나 야고 민도 라샤라스나 라샤라지도 유기 말바다 다 간다 랍싱도 다 간다 초직 통초직 마통으로지 차대 면도 삼들을 정도 와다들이 예바디 가고에 된도 아니 지위취기 개량고 이제 배다 제외 거는 마 송요하래
And so it does say that there is a danger, and then immediately following that, it gives a number. The Buddha gave a number of examples, and at that point spoke about the 8 dharmas of respect. And so many people look at the passage where it says that the duration of the teachings will be decreased by 500 years, and really look at that, and then forget to look further at the point where it talks about the methods to remove those obstacles. It's like with a yak eating grass. With a yak eating grass, they can only see the grass to one side or other, not the grass that they're eating. And so it's like
blind yak.
It's like a blind yak eating grass. It can't really see everything. And so this is, I think, an instance of where we can see one thing, but we're blinded to another.
지당 뉘에기 템베네스 뉘안에 숨비 템베네스의 세베는 상계 템버 롱동마도 내기 어마르들 송요하래 로동라진 친사를 단도 내려 드리 견가요 어마다 단드려 아드리 주산에 다드네 유전에 된 도나 상계 좀된 얘기 딱 간다를 지 가스베지 바 분명히 된라 다 사람 용수 잡아 선에 저것도 다 간다 분명히 된래야 아니 람 용수 잡아지 냐수 래야 라바스 용수 잡아 냐수 래야게 다 고급 선에 장도 나 다나 신기 튠게 선에 장 상물로 다 주의해 그래 나 드린 주산 디균zel 되네 될래야 저 상매지 다디 근제 이나 삼바르지 진짜 계정만 고도 근제 이나 직전에 가다 오늘 전에 고수 시험은 신지 가서지 봄에 러도 쇼한테 템벌 뇌되게 예당 저 개롱마 쇼에 있는 템벌에 쉽지 뇌주고 면서 선물들이 도발 망부 여러 때 도발 사고야 같이 다 도발 사고야 가요 말해 가다 상계 나와 간다라 드리지샤
So in the Vinaya, it states that the Buddhist teachings will remain for 1,000 years. So we're well past that point. That's in the past. And the teachings are still present, so I figure that can't really be a problem. And so for this reason, when the Buddha gave women the opportunity, or he gave them all the facilities and everything they need in order to practice all of the paths and levels in their entirety. He gave them the opportunity and whatever they need in order to practice all 3 of the trainings in full. And so there are many people these days who wonder how it can be. What is it like? And how it could possibly be, and who are afraid that if women are ordained and if women are given the bhikshuni ordinations, they are afraid that this will harm the teachings. But I think that there is absolutely no need to have such suspicions, as the Buddha has already allowed it.
수름 일라바 차상하체 네진도지 라바 띵인지 일라바 딸 되네 라바 시르 일라바스 다들 용디요래 안데 인주스탄에 딸 라바 수름 일라바 용수 저바지 다당 아주 비교 난다는 게 분명히 때 라바 수름 일라바 용수 저바지 다 요 말했을라나 드딩에름 지어대.
And so in order to have the complete practice of the three trainings, you first have to have the complete practice of the superior training in discipline. Then on that basis you have the training in the superior training in samadhi. And on the basis of that you can have the superior training in prajna. And so for this reason we can say that in the practice of the, and so within Tibetan Buddhism, it is possible to say that for women it is not possible to have the complete training in the superior practice of discipline.
야고지 요마르스나 바지 디딩에르스레다 다 기즈메 도바즈메 주스 안 럽중메데메 다데 럽중메데 튜다고지 야고지메 다데 데제 데데디 유라 멜란도지 다 간다 데르지레 다데 주사네 디균zel 데네 다데지 탑교로지 다데지 가수에 다데지 템바지 베지 가르에 냠차베 니즈도 니차데 도스 안데인두스탄에 단데벨로 니슈나 주니슈나로래야는지 고스경근 경원 탐지 겸버서 울르슈베게 안 벽이 추규 가글라센당 다가난 신기 안에 학섬데베지 계획신에 다 안지 캠보다 지 딱 되니르지 망부지 디토리아 하는 것이 발송도 매주 망부시 다 나요래 대배주 나버디 나요래 세워서도 마스베 가랑게 무슨 미기 통보당 아니 냠수 용아 되지제 당에 주주디 디상에 사로다 침게 디지거래.
Now the reason why there is not the complete training in discipline is because there are no bhikshuni vows. Because there are no bhikshuni vows, then we can't say that there are really any proper novice nun vows either. And so without any proper novice vows, then it's difficult to say that there is a true ordained sangha of women who have gone forth. And so that is the situation that we are in. And this is an unfortunate situation. It is an unfortunate situation for Buddhism in general. And so therefore, over the last 10 or 20 years, led by His Holiness the Dalai Lama, many of the masters of Tibetan Buddhism, the high lamas, as well as many geshes and khenpos and so forth, who have engaged in discussions with good intentions. There have been many discussions, and many people have put great effort into this. And this is something that I have seen and experienced myself. Now I'm going to take a little bit of your time. I'm going to break the rules a little bit.
Okay. Da drin ju san da lo ju ni shu ji ren lia da zuo ding a ju nian xi qie jia wei ga dang an jia ge ke bei dian xue an ni pei ge ke ba na ma zhen zai bei ge and sooner the Delia Nyamshipche. Taji Kadar Jeba Mangoche, the Chevre. Ta Gejebe Jambashe and ta lost Juni in the Taji Kangache, Geta Kangashe dead. Laglendi Lamsan Tadi. Tunda Chimshi in the Lamsana of the Lalanda Kavorstoa, Tunda Kazachen, the Zuman Gordua. And the news that the new chevre. Tananin Jazan Talo or Talomar the Nanini Maliaji Samna Savage Corson. Jidangi Genome Domba Javi Minatati, Jigsaw you go on a jar, Nisaw you go on a jar, need beyond the area. Taimnea, Unet Injigalama, proper summer, Unet and young tower which Jimbimna, that you saw you going to jingo are. Utuna that jigsaw chego. That's in Usane. And Tadaji, you saw you going to Drubiagi, Galome Dumjundi, and it's a guy, the you Nandan Nalolia, and the Galome Dumjundi, or Ladiare. Tabe Dumjundi, Unet and Bigni, Ninis and a bit Shibuji Tegona, Naranzo Kala Havadua, Naranzo Dumjundi, Bigni Nini Tegona, Kala Havore, Daddy, Gina, Ludua, Land, the Nick, and the Inas of Sanity, Chicarsue, Ludub de Law, Jaja Gujan, the Shugudwa, Natadi Kala Havore, Chesa, Takandar, Dumju in Tako, you ever think out, Ichi Cheshan to Gorta. 이제 제잖아. 아니 바지 뉴에게 나눠려지. 간사신 유래 원시 가서 dom바dom의 원시 배주 당사람에 제바 탄이 버사디 인두산에 아니고 가서 다 이제 제는 라데 개체 버지 있어 봐. 안드리 인두산 다 드리지 개유 난될 이제 예브래. 근데 수 된데 쉬지. 니소유 Gonna do na sure. That didn't get on my dribble chevale, Angela, Tingo to G, Galoma, and Gizuma, the Rojuma, so on the Drogo, the needs are long mungo, that lost which is go are. The name means Nan Talo the Chunga Mare, and the Sana is Sunday, and the Azumegi, Grandit is Unane. And somewhat Drogas came in, somewhat Dumne, Missake Chumdoa. And the name is Kashikaji, Handara Tanga limited summer where Tanga summer that Tishi where Tanga which is Nuji. That Susugi, Kandar Tambo Susugi, somewhere in the Chari of Chazan, but the Jigi, Minung Shechilia, and to Ruru Serge, and Deleang Twingin Jar, and Twingin Jar and the Dushana, and Galigal lost Jelly and Cinema. Kilometer Druchar, which was younger something to Sana. That is Sana, the Digi, goes to Digi. That river to shed a year, and the Indian Sana, that in the magic.
So in the past 10 or 20 years, we've primarily been researching within the words of the Buddha, the treatises written by the Indian masters, as well as the scriptures, the Tibetan scriptures. So we've had a lot of talk, we've had a lot of research into this, and so it seems sometimes like over the past 20 years, we've only had talk and research. We haven't actually put anything into practice, so it's been like this for a long time. And so now when we think about how to give the Bhikkhuni vows, it seems to me that you can give the Bhikkhuni vows either through the single Sangha or you can give it through the dual Sangha. But the proper way to have a really proper and well-recognized legal ordination, Bhikkhuni ordination, it's best to have the dual Sangha. If you have no other choice, then it can be done by the single Sangha. But in order to have the dual ordination, then you have to have the then you have to have the transmission of the lineage of the Bhikkhuni vows, and that is only remaining within the Chinese tradition. Now, there may be a couple of problems within this that's not necessarily clear whether there's a clean transmission of the lineage or not. But this is something that is difficult for us to say. It's difficult to tell, and unless we had lived for a very long time, like
no. It's even our lineage also have.
Oh, yes.
When we reach.
Yes, even within the Bhikshu lineage, there are difficulties in the transmission of the lineage. It would only be possible for there to be the Bhikshu lineage if Nagarjuna had lived for 800 or 900 years. So this is something that we just have to take as a matter of faith and say that it probably is so. And the reason for this is, as it is described in the Vinaya, is that even with clairvoyance, it is difficult to tell whether someone has the vows or not. And so this is primarily a matter of taking it on faith and believing in it. And so we will take it as given that there is the Bhikshuni Sangha in the Chinese tradition, and it would be best to do this, to do the ordination through the dual Sangha. However, before you can have a dual ordination, you must first have the proper novice vows and then the nuns in training, the Shikshanamera vows. And to do this properly will take 3 or 4 years at least. So this is something that we won't begin this year, but I think starting from next year we can begin. And this is not something, and so starting next year within all the nunneries, and this is not for all of the nuns, but for a few nuns, for a limited number of nuns who are ready to do this, then we can make the preparations to begin this process next year, and to provide all the necessary facilities for this. And so this will begin a process that will then take 3 or 4 years, but my hope is that we can begin it next year.
다드네 다대양지 나랑거네 비량지 다 가시 직성 정도 하다 이제 미신당 원래 때는 제버려서지 진짜 뭐이 봐 다조조의 가정만 지시망고 결사다 수수다 균생 통네 간다르지 상계 있대봐 짐벌이야 코로나 버시우디 상계 있대배 강진디비 까와더브레스제 상계 수아래 레인디스 된제게 다 균생 통배 관에 쉬버 마다베 지 생기 지 무송당 다나 신기 다지 유주 된제게 균생 때네 드리지 다 제셔도 개말에 아니 경주 원내비냐 다等주변의 신기 대는 신기 지 신기 셈송하다 신기 원송 어디게 제도만 소소하게 하섬 넘버로 다외 관에 아니 지수 비몽 체외입니다 아니 지수소하게 원내전에 미지디 되어버려 들으셔서 삼정도 다 되래 다시 하셔보시면도 다드네 가상 공다 맛이 양지 다디 말하고 갔어. 유시. 다디 말하고 갔어. 다디.
Now, for my own part, many people might think that I'm doing this because others want to do this. So, but in my own experience, no matter how it is that others see it, I feel that this is something, it's necessary, in order to uphold the Buddhist teachings, it is necessary to have the fourfold community. As the Buddha said, the fourfold community are the 4 pillars of the Buddhist teachings. And so for this reason, this is the reason why I am taking interest in this. It is not in order to placate others or in response to others that I am doing this. And also, you should keep the same thought in mind. You should not do it in order to please others or any such reason. Rather, you should if you look within yourself and see whether you have the pure motivation and then are ready to put the effort into it, then it is something that will bring meaning to your human life.